This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Good afternoon. Welcome aboard. Travel troubles are about to go from bad to worse. If you're heading home for the holidays, you should know flights will be reduced due to the ongoing government shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
There'll be additional disruptions. There'll be frustration.
It's going to start getting pretty dicey here pretty quick.
Travelers like that guy at Reagan National Airport are bracing for chaos as the holiday rush ramps up. Reporter Stacy Lynn.
Starting Friday, the Federal Aviation Administration says it will reduce air traffic by 10%.
It will be restricted to these 40 high-volume traffic markets.
FAA Chief Brian Bedford.
We're going to ask the airlines to work with us collaboratively to reduce their schedules.
The agency blames staffing shortages, which has been a big problem due to the shutdown.
Aviation consultant Chris Van Cleve.
You're talking about tens of thousands of people that are about to have their travel disrupted. And it's not just going to be Friday. It's going to be every day until the FAA feels the staffing level and the pressure level and the exhaustion level of their controllers goes back to an acceptable level.
The cancellations come with just 3 weeks to go till Thanksgiving. United Airlines is offering refunds to passengers who do not wish to travel during the shutdown. President Trump is blaming Republican losses in Tuesday night's election on the government shutdown. He says the GOP needs to do a better job talking up the economy.
I think the biggest problem is Republicans don't talk about it. They don't talk about the word affordability, and the Democrats lie about it.
New York City Mayor-elect 34-year-old Zohran Mamdani says talk is cheap. Action's what's needed.
It's not enough to diagnose the crisis in working-class Americans' lives. You have to deliver on addressing that crisis.
Mamdani says the president campaigned on lowering prices, but his economic policies have only increased the cost of living. Trump says Mamdani's approach to politics will not work.
For 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism or the concept of communism has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
Mamdani takes over as mayor January 1st. He will be the first Muslim mayor of New York City and the youngest in over a century. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will not seek re-election. The 85-year-old San Francisco Democrat was first elected to Congress in 1987. She became the first female Speaker of the House in 2007. Pelosi says after a nearly 40-year career, she is looking forward to her final year in Congress with a, quote, grateful heart. Investigators have recovered the black boxes from that UPS cargo plane that crashed and exploded near the Louisville airport 2 nights ago.
It's like a scene out of a Terminator movie.
At least 12 were killed, including a child. The plane's left wing caught fire and an engine fell off shortly after takeoff.
This plane was 34 years old. The critical question is, why did that engine come off of the wing? Did the pylon break free? And why? Why was it on fire? This plane, again, 34 years old, had recently been in maintenance. Whatever happened, it doomed the 3 crew members on board and at least 9 people on the ground.
NBC's Tom Costello. A strike may be brewing at Starbucks, and the start date could coincide with its annual holiday promotion.
The job action would begin November 13th, the day Starbucks plans to give out free reusable red cups, typically one of Starbucks' busiest days of the year. Elle Gilstrap is a Starbucks barista in Richmond, Virginia.
There's a lot of layoffs that just happened at Starbucks, and we're not happy.
That report from correspondent Jim Krasula. Artificial intelligence continues to impact human jobs. Listen to this from Michael Wallace.
Like Meta, Google, and Amazon, IBM will invest more in AI. AI pioneer Geoffrey Hinton, known as the godfather of AI, fears many more jobs will be lost.
You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do.
The World Economic Forum predicts by 2030, 92 million jobs will be displaced by AI.
Former NBA player Damon Jones is being arraigned today in Brooklyn on charges related to that multi-million-dollar betting scheme. He and 30 others were arrested last month as part of a probe into sports betting and mafia-backed poker operations. Miami Heat star Terry Rozier and Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups also implicated in this scandal. History made on the ice in the NHL last night. The Washington Capitals' Alex Ovechkin has just become the charter member of a new club.
Ovechkin turns, he scores! The Great Eight is the one and only at 900.
Ovechkin knotted his 900th career goal in the Capitals' 6-1 win over St. Louis. Last year, he passed the great one, Wayne Gretzky, as the NHL's all-time leading scorer. Still to come on the Noon Report, drought relief, the future of Micron, and laid to rest in Lyons, New York.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams, tracking our next wind and rainmaker that will be arriving by tomorrow afternoon. We'll have forecast details up in 10.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. Power problems persist today in Pennsylvania from last night's ferocious windstorm. Thousands are still without electricity in the northeastern part of the state. This would include Tioga, Bradford, Susquehanna, Wayne, Wyoming, and Sullivan counties. The rain of late has helped dent the drought. Family Life's Mark Webster.
Yeah, the New York State DEC moved 21 counties from drought warning to drought watch, thanks to rainfall that replenished reservoirs, streams, and groundwater. They're mostly in western and northern New York. That said, 56 counties remain on that drought watch list in New York. In Pennsylvania, the most recent drought map shows 4 counties in northwest PA still under severe drought conditions, and many others across the state in moderate drought, keeping the wildfire threat significant. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you, Mark. A public hearing set for tonight to discuss the future of Micron. In central New York, Onondaga County leaders proposing $2 billion in tax breaks for that computer chip maker. Micron plans to build 4 semiconductor manufacturing facilities in the town of Clay. That meeting starts at 6 tonight at the Clay Town Hall. Republicans are licking their proverbial wounds after stinging defeats in Tuesday night's off-year elections. GOP strategist Tim Nealon says the Democratic wins across New York reflect a shift in the national mood.
You really see it. The public is not happy with the administration of Donald Trump or the government shutdown. And this, I think, really got them out in what we consider to be an off-year election.
Nealon says Democrats scored big in local elections all over New York. Come January, they will control the Onondaga County legislature for the first time in 50 years. The city of Greece outside Rochester elected its first Democratic supervisor in over 100 years Tuesday night. With the 2025 elections in the rearview mirror now, pundits are already eyeballing 2026 and what could be a very interesting race for governor in New York. Polls show a tightening race between North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik and incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul. Susan Arbetter anchors Capitol Tonight on Spectrum News.
This is not a state that's known for electing Republicans statewide, at least since Governor Pataki and Dennis Vacco. I mean, it's been a long time.
Vacco was Pataki's attorney general, in case you're wondering. Arbetter says midterm elections are seldom good for the party in power in Washington, and right now that party is the Republican Party. She thinks Stefanik might better be served staying put on Capitol Hill.
She has a seat in Congress, and it's a good seat. It's a powerful seat. She's a powerful congresswoman. I'm not sure why she would opt to sort of throw that away on a gubernatorial run, which she's likely not to win during a midterm election year.
The Manhattan Institute put out a poll last week showing Stefanik leading Hochul in a hypothetical matchup. The Republican Party can only afford to lose 2 seats if they want to keep control of Congress next year. A Canadian convicted of helping plot a terror attack on behalf of ISIS has just pled guilty to attacking correctional officers at a federal prison in Pennsylvania. The The Muslim inmate stabbed 2 officers in Allenwood 5 years ago with a weapon made from part of a steel desk. He's been in prison for almost a decade after he and 2 others were caught plotting an attack in New York City. A soldier killed 83 years ago in World War II will be laid to rest tomorrow. In Lyons, New York, the remains of Army pilot John Pugluso arrived in western New York yesterday. He was shot down over Papua New Guinea in 1942. Pugluso's niece, Norma Davis.
I feel a sense of loss that I didn't really know him, but I'm getting to know him, and it's exciting, it's emotional, it's a little of everything.
Staff Sergeant Pugluso was killed in action 3 years before Davis was born. He was positively identified at a military cemetery in the Philippines thanks to DNA provided by his sister. His niece telling Spectrum News.
It's important to have the closure, but also I think it's so important, like for my grandchildren, to see, this is an ancestor of theirs who gave his life for our country, for our freedoms.
Pugluso was just 24 when he was killed in action. His funeral will happen tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the Elmwood Cemetery in Lyons, New York. A Painted Post New York man's been convicted of stealing Corning Incorporated trade secrets to benefit a Chinese government program. 63-year-old Ji Wang is a former employee at Corning. He took hundreds of files related to a military laser weapon project. Wang is facing up to 25 years in prison when he's sentenced next spring. A Bible that was lost more than 20 years ago after Hurricane Ivan battered western Pennsylvania. That Bible has been reunited with its owner after it was found in the strangest of places. The story from Family Life's Brian Query.
An Oakdale, Pennsylvania firefighter who was checking his gear pockets Tuesday night found a small faded change purse that didn't belong to him. So he took the purse to his chief, who opened it, finding a small pocket Bible with an inscription inside dated May 12, 1997. After some online research, they found the Bible had belonged to Amanda Klotz, who used to live in the town. But here's where the story gets interesting. It turns out the Bible disappeared in 2004 after waters from Hurricane Ivan flooded areas of western PA. And miraculously, despite the age and possible effects from floodwaters, the Bible was undamaged with the inscription in perfect condition. The fire chief is mailing the Bible to Klotz and simply said, "This girl has an angel looking after her, and we think he's pretty cool." Brian Query, Family Life News.
What a great story. Thank you, Brian. Sports next. It's the 2-minute drill on the Family Life Noon Report.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, the New York Knicks dominated the second half of their 137-114 win over the Minnesota T-Wolves at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks trailed by 4 at halftime before outscoring Minnesota 83-56 the rest of the way. OG Anunoby led the way with 25 points. Jalen Brunson finished with 23 and 10 assists. New York improves to 5-0 at home. Julius Randle scored a game-high 32 in a losing effort. The Nets have finally won a basketball game, taking down the Indiana Pacers 112-103. Michael Porter Jr. had a double-double, 32 points, 11 boards, as the Nets snapped a 7-game losing streak. The 76ers came up short against the Cleveland Cavaliers 132-121. Donovan Mitchell on fire, dropping 46 points for Cleveland. Tyrese Maxey and Quentin Grimes led Philly with 27 points. Other winners on the hardwood: Detroit, Boston, the Rockets, Pelicans, Nuggets, Lakers, Trailblazers, and Kings. On the ice, history was made in our nation's capital. Washington forward Alex Ovechkin scored his 900th career goal. The 40-year-old is the first player in league history to ever reach that mark. And more importantly, he would say his team won the game. Caps beat the Blues 6-1. Also skating to wins: Toronto 5-3 over Utah, Calgary 5-1 over Columbus. The Blackhawks down the Canucks 5-2, and the Sharks had no problem with Seattle 6-1 the final. That is a look at sports.
Thank you kindly, Randy Mann. And still to come on the Noon Report, Pelosi calls it a career, the Erica Kirk interview, and top baby names for 2025.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Less than 25 years after Muslim terrorists killed nearly 3,000 people on 9/11, New York City, home of Ground Zero, just elected a Muslim as its next mayor. Some European cities are already majority Muslim, so what does this mean for America? Well, today on Breakpoint, speaker and author Abdu Murray takes a closer look at Islam in America and how Christians should respond.
The truth, as usual, is complicated. There are legitimate concerns about Islam's growing influence in Western life, but there are also exaggerations or flat-out falsehoods. Take the rumor that Dearborn, Michigan has implemented anti-Christian missionary laws. It hasn't. I've read the ordinances and confirmed with Christian friends who live there that they can still share the gospel in Dearborn's parks and streets. Still, there are real tensions. When Dearborn's mayor, Abdullah Hammoud, told the Christian Dearborn resident and street preacher Ted Barham that he wasn't welcome in Dearborn, the backlash was swift. In response, Hammoud issued a sorry, not sorry statement that Dearborn is open to people of all faiths, but he didn't apologize or even address Barham. With a population that's roughly 55% Muslim, Hammoud likely feels no need. His base will keep him in office. That's what makes the situation interesting and instructive. Islam's growth in the West isn't hypothetical. It's real, and it's reshaping local cultures and politics. Consider that the FBI announced on October 31 that it thwarted an alleged terror plot in Dearborn. And now the largest city in the U.S., New York, has, for the first time, a Muslim mayor. Some wonder, if a mayor of a mid-sized city could try to socially silence Christians, what might happen in the nation's cultural capital? But contrary to some fears, Sharia law isn't taking over Western legal systems. Islam's spread in America isn't primarily legally coercive, but it is cultural, demographic, and deeply spiritual. Despite its global PR problems, association with extremism, restrictions on women, authoritarian regimes, Islam continues to grow in the U.S. Yes, that's partly due to immigration and birth rates, but it's also because Islam offers what secularism can't, a clear message and a sense of belonging. Islam is winning some hearts that long for meaning, conviction, and community, hearts that should be hearing the credibility of the gospel of Jesus Christ. The tragedy isn't that Islam is advancing, it's that the church has been retreating. Islam's growth doesn't prove that the religion is true. It proves its followers take their faith seriously, and that should wake us up. The Christian response must be urgency, not alarm. We need to recognize what makes Islam appealing, its conviction, its courage, its sense of mission, and rekindle our sense of those same virtues, but undergirded by the truth of Christ. Our witness must be both persuasive and personal. Muslims and secular seekers alike should see in Christians a faith that is intellectually credible, morally grounded, and compassionately lived. The gospel doesn't offer dominance, but deliverance, not control, but communion with the living God. So let's engage our Muslim neighbors, not avoid them. Let's support those ministering in Muslim-majority communities. Let's disciple men and women who embody truth with humility and conviction. Islam's rise in the West is not a reason to panic, it's a reason to preach. Our Muslim neighbors aren't the enemy. They're people made in the image of God, searching for what only Christ can give. For Breakpoint, I'm Abdu Murray.
Thanks, Abdu. If you're a fan of these daily Breakpoint commentaries, please leave us a review wherever you download your podcast. And for a version of this commentary that you can download and share with others, go to colsoncenter.org/radio.
Appreciate it, John. Let's head outside. Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life weather forecast. Our call for this afternoon, variable clouds with some sunny breaks. Certainly moments when you see the sun through the clouds. Be a passing shower or two with high temps only in the 40s and 50s. Tonight, chilly. Partly cloudy skies, low temps dropping toward 30. Tomorrow, some early sun and clouding up with afternoon and nighttime rain and wind. The high tomorrow well into the 50s. On Saturday, a morning shower, mostly cloudy with high temperatures in the mid-40s to the middle 50s.
Thank you, Kevin. This is the Noon Report on Family Life. Great you're with us today. I'm Bob Price, and a lot to get to. Thursday, the 6th of November. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not seeking re-election. She became the first woman to ever serve in the role as Speaker of the House back in 2007. The 85-year-old San Francisco Democrat says she's grateful for her nearly 4 decades of public service. Pelosi was first elected to Congress in 1987. A potential nightmare for flyers ahead of the busy Thanksgiving travel season. The FAA is cutting 10% of flights at 40 of the nation's busiest airports. It's because of the government shutdown and the shortage that has caused for air traffic controllers. Reporter Jeff Newen has more.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned the government shutdown into its second month has led to more risk when it comes to air travel as the holiday season approaches.
As every day goes by, I think the problem is going to only get worse.
Nearly 13,000 air traffic controllers have been working without pay for weeks. Thomas Anthony is the director of USC's Aviation Safety and Security Program.
Is air travel safe right now?
I would say it is substantially less safe than it was a year or two ago.
Matt Schwepka with the Syracuse Hancock International Airport in central New York dismisses the notion that it's unsafe to fly right now.
We operate in a very safe airspace system, and you will see more cancellations and delays before you would see a degradation of safety.
The FAA ordered flight cuts at 40 of the nation's busiest airports begin tomorrow. The death toll is rising from Tuesday's fiery crash of a UPS cargo plane in Louisville, Kentucky.
12 people were killed, including a child, after the UPS cargo plane crashed and burst into flames shortly after taking off from Louisville International Airport Tuesday evening, where UPS runs its largest package delivery hub. Authorities say the plane's left wing caught on fire and an engine fell off before it crashed and exploded.
Reporter Christina Coleman says federal authorities are perusing the plane's black boxes to determine what went wrong.
The wreckage will talk to you. The wreckage will tell you a lot about what happened.
3 pilots on board and 9 on the ground were killed. President Trump blaming Republican election night losses on the 37-day-old government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer thinks the president has no one to blame but himself.
What are these election results? They're a bolt of lightning and a wake-up call to Donald Trump to start working with us to end this crisis.
Democrats won gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia, as well as the mayor's contest in New York City. The president claims 34-year-old mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is the new face of the Democratic Party, and that won't bode well for them come next year.
We have a choice between communism and common sense.
Trump adds the brand of politics that Mamdani is peddling has never worked anywhere in the world, and it won't work in New York City either. Mayor-elect Mamdani has made affordability and the cost of living central themes of his campaign. Charlie Kirk's widow is opening up for the first time since her husband's assassination. During an interview with Fox News last night, Erica Kirk admitted she has never seen the video of the shooting, and she never will.
And for people who actually enjoy watching that, which is quite literally sick, what if that was your father or your brother or your sister? There's a perspective shift there. We're human. Life is fragile. And there is so much beauty in this world. Why would you waste any portion of your life looking at something so evil?
Kirk telling Jesse Waters that arriving at the hospital shortly after her husband's death was like a scene out of a horror movie. Charlie Kirk was an influential Christian activist who was killed while debating college kids in Utah on September 10th. In Chicago, there's anger and outrage after ICE agents made an arrest inside a daycare center. Children, teachers, and parents say they were traumatized.
What has happened today is domestic terrorism, and it is absurd and horrific that they have now targeted our daycare centers.
ICE agents argue they were not targeting that daycare center. They were chasing a suspect who ran into that daycare center. They're counting green at the Golden Arches.
Snack Wrap is back.
McDonald's is crediting the return of the fan fave snack wraps, which disappeared from menus 9 years ago, for a 3.6% jump in same-store sales in the third quarter. Data shows traffic in U.S. locations was up an average of 15% a day. The introduction of 50-cent double cheeseburgers in September also helped WooBack customers turned off by rising fast food prices.
Correspondent Vicki Barker. And the most popular baby names for 2025 are out. Once again, Noah and Olivia are tops on the list. Liam and Oliver are second and third. When it comes to boys' names, Amelia and Sophie round out the top three girls' names. New additions on the top 10 list this year for girls include Ileana and Aurora. Luca joins the boys' top 10 this year, replacing Leo. This is the Noon Report on Family Life.
This is Faith Under Fire. We take you straight to the voices on the front lines of religious battlegrounds. Our own Bob Price interviews SAT7 Vice President Joe Willey. We're talking satellite television Christianity deep in Muslim territory. Let's listen in.
SAT7 is Christian television and digital media created in the Middle East and North Africa by those who are Middle Eastern and North African and Turks. It is an opportunity to tell others about Christ in a region that is only 3 to 4% Christian.
Quite a reach, too, from what I understand. You reach 25 million, primarily Muslim people in 25 countries.
We have 4 channels. There is SAT7 Arabic, there is SAT7 Pars, which is Persian language, and there's SAT7 Turk, which is the Turkish language, and also SAT7 Kids. We broadcast in the 3 major languages of that region of 600 million to 700 million people. So we make Christian programming by Christians who just happen to be natives to that region. We have presenters, especially those who are Iranian or Afghan, who once they are on the air, and once they are shown, they really cannot go home again. And so that's the dedication that we have. Some of my colleagues who have said, I'm going to follow Christ. I'm going to tell people that are like me about Christ, and I may have consequences, but I'm still going to follow what I believe God's calling me to do.
Wow. Your target audience, only 4% Christian. Are you making any inroads, Joe, as far as changing lives with the message of hope that's only found in Jesus?
One of the great things about SAT7 is not only does it broadcast on satellite or digital media, but SAT7 also has a team of employees, we call them the viewer support teams, who answer questions. This may be by WhatsApp or this may be social media, but there are people who are saying, wait, I've always heard Christians are like this, but you're showing me something different. Why are you different? Who is Jesus? Not as a prophet, which a Muslim would say, yes, there is Jesus, Isa. But what is this about the Son of God? Isn't this blasphemy? You're saying that by faith in him, I can have my sins forgiven? Explain this to me. It's really powerful. We've had people, they're Christians, they're alone. We call them isolated believers because they're surrounded by people who do not share their faith, and they don't have resources. They don't have discipleship resources. So what we try to do also is, with our programming, support them so by the grace of God, they'll be able to stand firm in their faith.
Muslim extremists are targeting young people in particular through TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, they do it very effectively. The brainwashing that goes on and the indoctrination that goes on. How do you counter that? I know you said up front, and I thought it was chilling, that many of the people who appear on your programming, to quote you, Joe, can't go home again. Talk about the courage that takes and how you counter that Muslim extremism, that message that's getting out through technology.
Oh, yes, it's a difficult one, because someone who would like to radicalize or like to call someone or encourage someone to hate another person uses the same tools that someone that perhaps is selling toothpaste would. You use marketing, you use things, and when you're talking about offering inclusion, offering of community to people who, in many areas of the Middle East, who are impoverished, they have nothing.
Yeah.
When you say, I can give you something, join with us, That is a pretty winsome message.
Yeah.
What is important to remember, and I remember this, is that we're not called to have an incredible apologetic that someone would say, you know what, you win the argument. What we are called to do is share the truth of the gospel. Amen. We're called to share the truth of God's word. And instead of saying, let me rebut every point someone may make, we simply share what God has done for us. We share what God is doing, who he is, and his word. I liken it to someone being trained to spot counterfeit money, handling true money, handling the real thing. And then they will be able to spot the counterfeit. Amen. The people of the Middle East and North Africa, just like the people of China or North America or wherever it is around the globe, they need Christ.
Amen. How can we be in prayer for the good work that's going on at SAT7 in the days, months, and years ahead?
What I ask people to pray is that God would be glorified and that SAT7 and all its employees would just simply trust God each day to share the truth of his word and let the Holy Spirit move in hearts, strengthen people who are believers, and then we can stand back, give him glory, and say, look what God has done.
Learn more at sat7usa.org.
Thank you, Sarah. Faith Under Fire comes your way every Thursday during the Noon Report. You can catch it online, too, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or familylife.org.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. In the wake of the rain and wind maker of late, a quieter but chilly day is ahead today. But already the next weather maker is lining up to bring rain and wind by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and another that's looming for Sunday and early next week. That's rain, followed by snow showers and lake effect. Our call for this afternoon, variable clouds with some sunny breaks. Certainly moments when you see the sun through the clouds. Be a passing shower or two with high temps only in the 40s and 50s. Tonight, chilly. Partly cloudy skies, low temps dropping toward 30. Tomorrow, some early sun and clouding up with afternoon and nighttime rain and wind. The high tomorrow well into the 50s. On Saturday, a morning shower, mostly cloudy with high temperatures in the mid-40s to the middle 50s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Finally at noon, the Hall calls three more toys, that is, were inducted today into the National Toy Hall of Fame in Rochester, New York. They are, drum roll please, the board games Battleship, Trivial Pursuit, and the always fun squishy thing known simply as slime. Those three joining 87 others in toy immortality. They're in the Flower City. Now, founded back in 1998, the Toy Hall of Fame honors toys for their iconic status, their longevity, innovation, and for fostering creativity. And congratulations today to Battleship, Trivial Pursuit, and Slime. And that's our world, the world we live in. Thursday, November 6th. I'm Bob Price, Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.